Oh, testing, testing. Hello, hello. I had it muted. I can't believe it. Oh, testing, testing. Hello, hello. I had it muted. I can't believe it. Oh, testing, testing. Hello, hello. Okay. A little bit late, but that's my fault for not properly setting things up. I don't do a lot of live streaming, and I honestly don't know how long this is going to take. It should be pretty short, and I'll just send the recording out to anyone who wants to see it, and I'll have the spreadsheet available for anyone who wants to download it and play with it. Essentially, what prompted this was there's been a lot of talk about gas prices lately. There's been a lot of talk about nobody wanting to work, which really means nobody wants to work for a minimum wage. And the reason is minimum wage does not really afford you any meaningful quality of life. So there's a lot of discussion about that going back and forth. A lot of it's emotional. I wanted to put some numbers to that um, topic. And so I made this very basic budget spreadsheet, which allows you to input all sorts of living expenses. And then what it does is it spits out what your hourly wage would have to be to maintain those living expenses, given all of the different variables. So this is made in Google Sheets. I'll be sharing this after the live stream, and you can download it and add or subtract columns to it or rows to it, whatever you like, and play around with the numbers. So I'll just walk you through the sheet. Everything is monthly unless it's otherwise specified. And all you do is edit the blue cells. Don't touch the cells that are not blue. And I've got it broken down into a couple of sections. You've got the survival essentials right here. Roof over your head, that's rent or mortgage. Electric bill, water bill, and about 1 week of groceries. Right? You need food, you need water, you need electricity, and you need somewhere to stay. So this is survival essentials. You're not going to really be living a very good quality of life if you don't have these things. Also, sorry if I sound like I'm stuttering. Again, I'm not used to doing live streaming. It's been a while. I'm also looking over at the chat on my phone to see if anyone's here. At this point, no one really is, so I'm just kind of talking to myself and feeling kind of awkward. Anyway, there's your survival essentials. Roof over your head, electric bill, water bill, 1 week of groceries. There's the very important stuff, which some might consider survival essentials. You got your internet, phone plan, car payments, car insurance, gas prices, which is a big deal. We'll get to that. That's this section over here, all this gas money part. Public transit, the student debt, health insurance, medical debt, credit card debt, and I put termite in here because I have a little termite plan on my house. So you can change these around to whatever's relevant, and of course change anything in the blue cells. But don't edit this one because it's all coming from this block of computations. That's the very important stuff. I've got other big yearly costs, right, for your home and for other unexpected stuff. Depending on your situation, this can vary wildly, but if you're a homeowner, you can expect to spend like $1,000 a year or more on your home. Before I jump to luxury and fun, I do want to bring this up. 1 week of groceries. So whatever this number is, multiplied by 4, because there are 4 months, 4 weeks in a month. That's why I have this here. And that's all computed. Okay, luxury and fun stuff. The gifts you buy, the donations you make, all the times you go dining out in a month, and any tickets to events. Again, these are going to vary wildly depending on the person and the situation, but it's luxury and fun stuff. This is your yearly retirement, right? Again, everything is monthly, so this is monthly, luxury and fun is monthly, this is per year, and retirement is per year. I just checked the IRS website. The maximum for FY22 that you can contribute for your 401k is $20,500. Again, how much you are able to actually contribute is going to vary wildly depending on your income. And the max you can give for your Roth IRA is $6,000 a year. And together, that's $26,500. That is a lot of money. That's more than a lot of people make in a year, much less are able to give to their retirement. Okay, then we've got the grand total columns here. This is the total per month. This is the total per year. And this is the gross salary you would need, assuming a 30% tax. Now, if you're making about this much, your effective tax rate is generally in the neighborhood of like 25, not 30. But the general principle here is that we're going to round up on all of our expenses. So we're going to assume things are a little bit more expensive than they may actually be. And then if we want to cut back, we can go and make them closer to reality. So that's like the general principle that I follow. What follows below this is some stuff about money for retirement. What follows below down here is if you have a renter. This is just me playing around with a spreadsheet I made earlier. So we're not really going to talk about this stuff probably, so you can kind of disregard it. This is the important thing you need to know right here. This is how much you need. This is your gross salary before taxes if you had a 30% effective tax rate. And that just means this number, you cut off a third of it, and what you're left with is your cost of living for the year when you add up all these numbers. Okay, over here in this column, right, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks per year. That means you're taking 2 weeks of vacation, right? Which again, some people don't do that because they can't do that, or they don't want to, but usually it's because they can't afford to do that. But 50 weeks a year, this is the hourly wage you would have to make for all these numbers. And we'll go through and edit these and see how these numbers change. This is the gasoline portion, which I think a lot of people are probably interested in. This took me a bit of time to come up with to make it this precise. But yeah, so price of gas per gallon, mileage on your car, average, right? How long it takes you to go from your house to your work, or your apartment to work, whatever the case may be. How long it takes you to go from your house to the grocery store, or apartment to the grocery store, whatever the case may be. How many miles to go into the city, say you want to go into the city on the weekends for drinks with your friends or what have you. And then for big trips, right? And all of these distances are all one way. So everything here is one way, or one-way trips. Then it's how many trips you have to work. In this case, if there's 0, I guess you work from home, which is nice. How many trips to the grocery store? This is all per week, right? Oh yeah, it is per week. I probably should have specified that. So I'll do that now because no one is really watching. Trips to grocery per week, trips to the city per week, and big trip. Big trip can be like, I don't know, you go on a road trip, visit your friends or something, or you go to a city that's further away than usual to go have fun or something. I don't know. But that's per week. And then this is your total miles per week. And you may say, how come it's 0.25 and 0.25? That's 1/4. The assumption there is that if you go to the grocery store once a month, you would go 0.25 times a week. If you go to the city once a month, that would be 0.25 a week. That's what that's coming from. Okay, then it computes for you the miles per week, the miles per month, gallons of gas you use per week, gallons of gas you use per month, how much money you have to pay out per week, and then of course how much money you have to pay per month. And this 113.14 goes over here automatically. All right, so the numbers to look out for are going to be these numbers, and I'll just go through and highlight them. I'll fill them in with an orange highlight, and then this number. Right? Those are the numbers we want to keep our eye on. Okay, so I've just filled in some data here, and I was hoping if we had anyone in chat, they could kind of tell me where they live, and we could fill in some numbers for them to get some figures going. But let's say, oh yeah, some other things I didn't mention. The basic assumption here is that you're a single person, no kids, no pets, you live alone, you're on your own, right? This gets a little bit more complicated if you are married. Gets a little bit more complicated if you have kids, if you have pets, because then you have to add in those costs, which you can do. I mean, you can change the names of some of these things or add more rows if you want. But this is a very basic, simplified version. Probably best used by kind of like a younger person or just someone who's not married and doesn't have kids and doesn't have pets, which is all. So I don't know. I'm just gonna pick a city like I don't know. What's a good city? Scranton, Pennsylvania. So I'll go to Scranton, Pennsylvania Craigslist. There we go. So apartments in Scranton. I'm just trying to grab some costs. Yeah, internet is super slow. I wonder if that is affecting the quality of the stream. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to want has images posted today. I mean, it's got to be has images. They're not serious. Wow. I don't know what's going on. Oh, every time you select something, it refreshes because it's Craigslist. Yikes. Well, maybe it's a good thing that there are no viewers here because this is excruciatingly slow. All right, so I'm just going to make up some stuff. Roof over your head, most people, I get the impression you're probably paying like $1,000 a month, right? Electricity, I don't really know. I've always been very energy efficient, and I'm assuming if you're living in a small apartment, it's not going to be much more than like $100 or $120 a month. Water is usually pretty cheap if it's not included in rent already, so we'll just throw a 0 up there for water. 1 week's of groceries. No, some people don't really buy groceries. They only eat out, which is going to blow up this. But let's say you do buy groceries and you're pretty frugal and you only spend like $100 a week on groceries, bare essential kind of stuff. Okay. Internet plan. Now I have a really good internet plan and a phone plan, but you know people will pay upwards of like I don't even know. My phone plan is super cheap, but I'm assuming like $50 a month for phone, and you might pay like $75 a month for internet. People have car payments. That's like a thing. People have car payments. So you don't own your car. You're making payments on it. And let's just call that like $200 a month. Car insurance. Again, I only really know it for my car. But let's say, I don't know, we'll make it something reasonable, pretty low. Because I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. I only have my situation for reference. and it looks like I can't do internet searching, which is ridiculous. For some reason, it's running ultra slow. So we'll just keep that as it is. Gas, don't edit. Public transit, maybe you have a monthly pass and it's like 30 bucks a month. Student debt, maybe you have like $200 of student debt. Health insurance. Now, if you have a job, your job may cover all of your health insurance. They may cover the premiums. You still have to cover the deductibles and the co-pays. So, if you spend $1,000 extra on health, that's $1,000. You got to divide that by 12, and that'll give you your monthly rate. So you spend about $83 a month on healthcare, assuming that you spend $1,000 a year on healthcare. Medical debt, people have it, $150. Credit card debt, people have it. Say make the minimum payment, and it's like, I don't know, $100. Termite costs, I don't know what else. Say you have a pet, and every month you pay, I don't have pets, never did. So, I don't know, 75 bucks a month on pets. Again, I have no frame of real reference for that because I don't have pets. But look what's happening already. Like, you're going to need to be making $90,000 to afford this lifestyle. Unexpected home costs, say you're renting, so you got 0. And then other unexpected costs, just call it 1,000 because who knows what could pop up in a year. Gifts, throughout the year, and more than that, you're probably maybe $500 on gifts. Donations, again, call it $250 in donations. Tickets to events, again, if you're living this kind of lifestyle, you are probably going to events, so you might be spending $100 a month, right? And now we're closing in 90% on $90,000 needed. Now, all of this is assuming that you are maxing out your retirement, right? So this is the maximum. But let's say you're maxing out your Roth IRA, which you should be doing, right? You should get a Roth IRA and max it out after you contribute the maximum you can to your company's plan. But realistically, most people don't do that. So let's say each year you put in $4,000 to this, and to your 401k you put in another $4,000. Okay, that greatly lowered things. Right? Now you need to make about $63,000 a year to live this lifestyle with these contributions and quite a lot of luxury and fun, I would say. But what's that hourly wage, right? 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks per year because you're taking 2 weeks off. That's a $30.70 hour per wage. So obviously someone who's making like $7.25, there's no way they're going to be able to afford this lifestyle. It's just nowhere near possible, right? In fact, if we take this number and divide it by 725, I don't know if it's 725 or 775. I just don't know. I should know, but it's not enough. You'd need like 4.5 of you to produce enough money to live this life. So what is federal minimum wage? It's either 725 or 775. Good night. Look how slow this is going. I wonder if I'm even... No, I'm connected. 725, right? And it depends on what state you're in, because apparently it changes depending on the state. But 725 is the federal. So if you're making the federal minimum wage, you'd need 4.37 of you, 4.5 of you to make what's needed. Now, here comes the gasoline portion, right? $4.50 per gallon, 35 miles per gallon. You'll have to fill in your commute. But this all assumes you're working from home, right? Or maybe it assumes that takes care of just all your things. 0 trips to groceries, 0 trips to the city. It's all public transportation. You do have a car, and you use it to only go out on the weekend. You do one big trip. Okay, so that lowered things down a little bit, but not too much, right? And your big trip isn't 100 miles round trip. Maybe it's I don't know, 50 miles round trip. Okay, that cuts things down quite a bit, but it doesn't really move the needle too much, right? No, your hourly wage is 31.17 per hour instead of was it 32.70 before? And that's what gas at 4.50. Right now, I think 4.25, depending on where you are. But there again, watch how this number changes as I change this number. So it's at 31.14 per hour if it's with these parameters. If it goes up to $5 an hour, $5 per gallon. If it goes up to 6, it's bumping up just a little bit. If this goes up to $8 a gallon, 31.51, you're still in the 31 range. It's just a few pennies per hour raise you need for the gas that goes up this much. So one of the conclusions I draw from this is that all things being equal, if you're making around this much money as a single person and you've got roughly these living expenses, the cost of gas can really blow up if you're not really driving that much, and it's not going to greatly impact how much more money you need per year. With that said, a lot of people are in very dire situations and they are not making anywhere near this amount of money. Certainly nowhere at all. No savings whatsoever. Hey! All right, now we only need $6.82 wage. So there it is. If you can find a place to rent out for $500 a month with $75 electric, water's included in the bill, you only spend $75 per week on groceries. You find, you can split that $75 an hour internet plan and get $37.50. Your phone plan is only $25 a month. You have no car, so none of that matters. You can find a yearly or monthly public. You can just barely do it. You'll get your weekends off, and you'll get 2 weeks a week, 2 weeks a year off, which you're probably going to need because you're probably going to be really stressed. 5. Again, I'm sorry, gas doesn't matter because you don't have a car. By the way, that's the equivalent of a $13,000 salary, right? Now, really, your effective tax rate isn't going to be 30. It's probably going to be, like I said, closer to like 25. So, that's about how much you need to make 12,006. And I think if you're making less than the standard deductible, your effective tax rate I don't know why it's running so slow. I'm really sorry. %5 effective tax rate. It's still like $10,000. Oh, that does change things. Okay, $5.12 an hour. Oh, that's good. That means you can go out with your friends. Oh, no, I'm disconnected again. I wonder how many times I've been disconnected throughout this live stream, which I'm just going to call it for the evening. I'll have a link to the spreadsheet in the description, and I guess if anybody watched this after the fact, kudos to you if you've made it this far. I think this will be one of those videos that just sits on the internet and no one ever watches it, and I don't blame them. This is more an exercise for me than anything else. Okay, gonna